Not
Mm.
Okay. I think we're
Julian's
back now. Okay, and I think we're live for real now.
All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the free Assange Vigil Series 18.0. My name is Taylor Hudak, and I am joined with my co-hosts, Andrew Smith, Christy Doff, and Steve Poikinen. So tonight we will be discussing the concert that took place outside of the Home Office in the UK in central London, as well as some updates regarding Julian Assange and issues related to free speech and free press. We also are joined by a very special guest this evening. But before we get to that, I do want to update you with our specific stats as of today, November 6, 2019. So it is 209 days since the brutal arrest of WikiLeaks publisher and journalist Julian Assange. And it is 3,256 days of the unlawful and arbitrary detention. And as for Chelsea Manning, today is day 238 since she has been imprisoned, and she is now up to $129,000 in fines. So we do have a very special guest this evening, as I had mentioned earlier, and I know you guys are all very much looking forward to this. We've been talking about it quite a bit on social media. Eleanor Goldfield joins us. She is a creative activist and journalist. She is the founder and host of the show Act Out, which airs on Free Speech TV as well as in podcast form. She is also the co-host of the podcast Common Censored, along with Lee Camp. And her article, either censor or misrepresent. And Eleanor also works in a variety of mediums, and her performances blend music, spoken word, and visual projections.
Thanks so
Eleanor,
much for
thank you so
having
much
me.
for coming on. How
I'm
are you
good,
doing?
although those numbers are horrific and grotesque. But
Yeah,
it's very
we're really happy
important
to have
that
you
I
on.
exist.
If you could just provide, in your own words, activism.
Sure. So, your introduction pretty much covered it, but I am a creative activist and a journalist, and so one of the things that I've done, in particular, with regards to what you all are talking about, is covering these stories in a way that actually represents the reality that's happening and not demonizing those who speak truth to power. And not trying to character assassinate those who actually show the empire for what it is. So that includes Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning, other whistleblowers like John Kiriakou, amplify these messages so that people can actually hear what's really going on, and as Edward Snowden pointed out, so that people can activate so that something actually changes. So that these whistleblowers put their lives on the line in vain. So that's what I try to do, freelance writing and organizing on the ground.
Okay, so I think we did drop for a moment. So before we continue with the vigil this evening, I want you guys to let us know in the chat if you can hear me or one of us speaking, and if you can see us, because I see that we've dropped a few times. It's better now. Okay, perfect. All right, so if you want to, because I think it may have dropped out, Eleanor, when you were speaking, if you want to briefly recap what you just said, I'm sorry, my apologies, but I do want everybody to hear what you had just said, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So basically, I mean, you pretty much covered it, but the idea of not only speaking truth to power, but amplifying the messages of those who have put their lives literally on the line in order to speak truth to power, and to show us what the true workings of the empire really are. And of course, that's people like Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, Edward Snowden, and many other whistleblowers that have had their lives destroyed and have had their names erased from the corporate media conversations and the socio-political culture.
So this is a lot of anti-fascist organizers and like communists and socialists and anarchists and things like that. And a lot of times when I talk to them about Julian Assange, the biggest response I get is, yeah, but, and then insert some type of propaganda spin, whether it's he put people's lives at risk or he's a rapist or just other type of just bullshit character assassination smear.
Hmm.
So I was wondering, in what way do you try to reach people that would and should support Julian and the causes and fights for free speech in the end of it? We side essentially, but don't actually know the truth behind the situation.
Yeah, so I actually wrote a spoken word piece about this as well, because it's something that I dealt with as well. And I think the bottom line is that it doesn't matter whether you like Assange or not. I don't know that I would want to go out and have a beer with him, but that's really not the point. We are not suggesting that you should support Julian Assange because he's your friend. We are saying that you need to support Julian Assange because he has told the truth and he has uncovered empire for what it really is. And he has, I mean, him and the WikiLeaks community has basically torn the facade off of the empire and shown it for what it really is. And that is something that is completely separate from who he is as a person. And that is something that needs to not only be recognized, but it should be applauded, because we, as not just citizens or residents of the United States, but of the world, have a right to know what's being done, uh, not just in our name, but to the globe in general. And so I think that this argument as to who Assange is as a person is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like when they were trying to say, "Oh, Edward Snowden didn't finish college or whatever," and it's like, well, who the hell cares? This is not the point. These people aren't up there for homecoming king. This is about what they have as journalists, or what they as whistleblowers or publishers have done, whether you like them as a person. And and also, as someone who is a woman and Swedish, and having talked to fellow Swedes about this issue, if the Swedes want to deal with Assange in terms of that rape allegation, then they should do so. And but they did not take into being. And so I think that if people want to talk about that as an issue against Julian, that's fine, but that has nothing to do with the empire trying to literally kill him and silence him for good. So
Well,
I
that's
think
why
that
the focus, in at least in US and UK media for the most part, and well, if any Five Eyes country really, the focus is always on Julian Assange the person, never all of the things that you mentioned. It's never, you should probably read the Stratfor emails, or you should probably read, there's no focus on the work, because the work is unimpeachable. The character of Julian Assange can be assassinated through so many different ways by so many different agencies and outlets. Um, the and for to the best of my knowledge, there was never and has never been a rape charge. There was a sexual assault allegation made by the police that the Swedish court then made a determination whether or not to follow. That out said, I made it up. The other one said that she was pressured to do so. Um, and again, that's but the word rape comes up because so often when there's someone, when there's a male figure who needs to be brought down, rape is the first allegation. It's involved in WikiLeaks, not charged. This is something Susie Dawson writes about in I think it's Freeing Julian Assange. Maybe it's Being Julian Assange. Can't remember. But but Susie Dawson has covered this extensively. There's so many different ways. Chuck Schumer said it about Donald Trump. If you go up against the intelligence agencies, they have 6 days from Sunday to get to you. Imagine not just being some idiot like Donald Trump, but being the publisher of an outlet with a 100% accuracy rating and who you're pissing off in the process.
So, Eleanor, um, something we're trying to do here with the vigils is to build bridges between activist groups, to try to just unite them around like the common ideas of privacy and free speech and things like that. And you yourself have talked about that on Act Out and on Common Censored. What are some really good ways that you think activists can build bridges between different communities that otherwise wouldn't really seem related?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that that should be discussed much more often, and I think that the fact that we exist in these silos is only a detriment to all of the things that we're doing. So, just door open for folks to connect and come in because